Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It is February 16, 2020, 10:42 p.m. Birmingham. Guys, I've been quiet lately. I guess you can tell. I've got a lot of things to say, but I hadn't had the opportunity. But this one I believe is important. Looking at the time and the things that are happening today, while they may seem okay, at least half okay here in our country, the rest of the world is spinning out of control. And you can see the coronavirus kind of has awakened a few people, and there's other viruses out there that they're not yet talking about. But I want to get down to one thing. I want to talk about the time period or the time that we're in today. And the Bible clearly mentions a generation, and it says 40 years in one place, it says 50 in another place, it says 70 in another, it says 80 in another, and it says 120 in another. Well, clearly, 40-year generation, we have surpassed that by the fact that we're able to live longer than they were in the medieval era. And then you move up to 50, we've surpassed that because we're getting better at doing things, especially with cleanliness and the foods that we eat and the ways that we put them up. And then you go on to the 70. You skip from 50 to 70. 70, everyone thought this is it. This is the generation that's going to see the income. The generation that's alive when Israel became a nation in May 1948 will be the generation that will see the end come. Well, we have surpassed that 70 years. And I've said many times, or if by good measure, in other words, if God is pleased at the time with his people, then that will extend to 80 years. And you see that right here, Psalms 90, verse 10 through 12. And I'm going to just read verse 10. The years of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength, 80. Yet their span is but toil and labor, or trouble. They are soon gone and we fly away. Again, Psalms 90, verse 10. Here we see that it's a good time for the Jews. They're lifting up, they're prospering, they're doing all the right things. They have the right prime minister in there that's doing what he's supposed to do, and he's standing by God's word to him. You do not offer up anything, not an inch of our land, period. And Benjamin Netanyahu is sticking to that. Now, if he were to go by the peace treaty that was just presented, well, that one, while it may not be giving up land, it is giving up land. It is marking boundaries, clear boundaries, where the Palestinian Jews will have say over. And that's beyond. Kushner shouldn't have even gone there, but he did. That is still giving land to the Jews. It's giving them, that's as bad as the blue and white party, the Likud party, being the prime minister, but yet having Arabs on the seat or the council seat, where they have to have equal input to the Jews as a Jewish leader would. And that's not going to ever be the case. Now, you know that Jordan has the rights and they hold for the temporary now, this is the Temple Mount. This is their custodians of the Temple Mount that Israel freely gave them back when they won and took all of Jerusalem. They did it to appease. They didn't do it for any other reason. Well, this appeasement is over. Damascus is going to be wiped out soon. It's going to be destroyed. It's almost destroyed now. It wouldn't be a loss for the rest of it to go. But if you look clearly, the Bible also says that Jordan, Amman Jordan specifically, would be under and come under the rule of the Jews. That's going to happen. And why is that? Well, when midways of the tribulation, the midways of the 7 years, which is 3.5 years, when the Antichrist steps foot into the temple and demands to be worshipped as God, the Jews will know then that's not our God. This is when God told them, flee. If you're on the house working, get out and run. Don't go in the house and grab anything. If you're in the field working, drop your tools and run. Don't go in the house. Don't go back. Don't turn around. Like he said to Lot and his wife, do not turn around. But 2/3 of the Jews will be cut off. 1/3 will escape. Those 2/3 will be raped, pillaged, killed, and everything they have will be taken by the Arabs, by the Palestinians, by any other who comes in there. Now, they have to have the escape route to Petra, and that escape route goes right through Amman, Jordan. So Israel will have Amman, Jordan in their control, and with that, they will take back control or custodian control of the Temple Mount. So here we are. We're going to a 70-year to 80-year generation. Now, 80-year generation, the final 7 years of that 80 years will begin in May 24th, 2021. From May 24, the final 7 years will begin. Now, there may be a period between the rapture and that date. There may be a time where God will call, well, like stop time. He may, look, you know what I'm trying to say. There could be a time between the rapture of the church by a number of years. But we now know it can't be more than a year and 3 months, because that's the time that's left before the 7 years, the final 7 years begin. I just want you to understand that I don't see, unless our date is wrong, and I know our calendar doesn't jive with the Hebrew calendar, the Gregorian calendar, you know, they're a little bit different. And year-wise, I don't know how many. I don't think anyone really knows how many. And there may be a time in there of 2 or 3 or up to 5 years off. Some people say it's 5 years, which would make it, or more than that, would make it 2029 before the 7 years would be up. Well, that's that's right on target, don't you think? May 21 to 29. I mean, so what I'm trying to say is, I believe that it's really possible, highly likely, in my opinion, that when we come around to May 24th, 2021, the church will not be here. And just by reading this Psalm 90, verse 10, we now know that we're into an 80-year generation because the 70-year generation has completed. And the Bible doesn't mention a generation beyond there. God can do anything. He can stall time, and we'll never know it. But I believe it's going to be on time. And I hope you think of it and look at it like that, and just don't get caught off guard, please. Jody Wolf Expoz.